So the Chicago Bulls announced that they're going to be retiring Derrick Rose's #1 jersey, this coming on the day of Derrick Rose Night, where they're going to be honoring his career and legacy in Chicago, but announcing that the jersey retirement will take place next season, which of course the fact that the Bulls even announced that they are going to be retiring his jersey period is pretty significant considering the history of this franchise. They've only ever retired 4 jerseys in total, the last one happening nearly 2 decades ago when they retired Scottie Pippen's jersey. But of course, in classic fashion, some Bulls fans had to take to social media to turn this positive moment into something negative. Now, I'll try to keep this brief in sharing my thoughts on the matter and try to put some perspective into it. By the way, I wasn't sure what footage to use for this video and decided to use the Bulls' most recent tribute video to Derrick Rose, which was a 20-minute mini documentary, which was so incredibly well done. I'm sure most of you have seen it by now, but if you haven't, definitely give it a watch on the Bulls YouTube channel. But as I was watching that video, it brought me back to those Derrick Rose days. It brought me back to a lot of the good memories when I was younger, thinking about where I was in life at that time, and more importantly, being reminded what Rose meant to the city of Chicago, and also what he still continues to mean for the city to this day. And I'll be honest, I wasn't entirely sure if the Bulls were going to be retiring Rose's jersey. Like, everyone was kind of speculating, are they going to retire his jersey or not? Are they going to do a surprise reveal during Derrick Rose Night? Because when you think about the history of this franchise and all the players that have played for this organization, they're pretty stringent on whose number they put up in the rafters. I mean, you have some all-time Bulls greats like Artis Gilmore, Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, Joakim Noah, Kirk Heinrich. I'm sure there are some names that I'm forgetting, but all-time greats who don't have their jersey retired. And Rose, as great and incredible as he was, his prime, so to speak, in Chicago, his really good years were very few, because from 2012 onward, Rose didn't play in as many games and obviously wasn't the same player that he used to be prior to that injury. Yes, he won the MVP. Yes, he was arguably the second best player in Bulls history at his peak, but in terms of his total career output with the Bulls, there are other players who actually have more accolades than he does in a Bulls uniform. Not his fault, of course, because his time was cut short due to injury. But my point in all this is to say that they didn't necessarily have to retire his jersey. They should have, and it would have been the right thing to do, but given the criteria of how they've retired jerseys in the past, it wasn't a for sure thing. But because of Rose's journey, what he means for the city of Chicago, everything he's endured from being the youngest MVP in history, one of the most gifted athletes basketball has ever seen, to then get struck by a series of injuries that cut short such a promising career, bringing this franchise back to relevance for the first time since Michael Jordan retired, they did the right thing in retiring his number and honoring his legacy and what he means to the franchise and more importantly to the city itself. Now, the reason I'm even bringing this up is because literally minutes after this was announced by Shams Charania that the Bulls plan to retire Rose's #1 jersey next season, you had a flurry of fans going in on the Bulls, particularly the Reinsdorfs, for stretching this out into next season and milking the fan nostalgia for another cash grab when they could have easily just retired his number tonight, completely neglecting how significant it is to retire the #1 jersey in the first place and using it as just another opportunity to rail on ownership for dragging this out. And all I'll say is this: I'm all for going in on the Reinsdorfs and criticizing some of their antics. I've criticized them numerous times since starting this channel 4 years ago, and even before that, friends who knew me knew my disdain for the ownership. And yes, I also get that there is a lot to be frustrated about with this franchise, whether it be ownership or the front office, how they've handled things in the past, the current product and state of this team, the lack of success season after season, having gone to the conference finals just once since Michael Jordan retired, their cheap antics here and there throughout the years. There is a lot to be mad about, to complain about, and have a negative perception of this organization. This is not one of them. You can call it a cash grab, call it riding off fans' emotions and nostalgia and living in the past, call it whatever you want. The Bulls are retiring Derrick Rose's jersey. This is about celebrating Rose and what he meant to this team and city. The Bulls are doing a great thing by honoring him in this way, and a lot of Bulls fans are turning something very positive and uplifting into something very negative and taking the attention away from Rose and turning that focus towards the people that they hate, the Reinsdorfs. Not everything needs to be a grievance. Not everything needs to be a complaint. I get there is a lot to be annoyed with by this franchise, but I feel like we've gotten to this point where some Bulls fans, not all, but some complain just to complain to the point where they don't even realize what they're mad about in the first place. That is a miserable way to live life. Like, let's be real here. We watch sports as an escape. But there are so many important things to life to be worried about. Getting worked up over the Bulls deciding to retire Rose's jersey next season instead of their planned Derrick Rose night is simply finding ways to be mad just to be mad. Like, some of you need to find some more happiness in your life if that's the case. This isn't that serious. And quite frankly, you're kind of ruining this moment for Derrick Rose. Not that he's reading or listening to what people say on social media, but you're talking about what is otherwise a great day honoring one of the best players in franchise history and turning it into something that isn't even there. Just another opportunity to bash ownership, and that's sad to me. Let's just be happy for once about something, Bulls fans. Let's be happy for Rose and honor his legacy. Let's for once try not to turn something into a negative. Let me know what you guys think though. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.